Hey guys, it's Mark at American Suspension. We're going to do an install video of our front and rear ram air ride and our new center stand. You're going to get the kit in a box like this, and in the box you're going to get two of our premium P49 air shocks. It's going to have these spacers you're going to use for the spherical bearings. It allows the shock to pivot so it can't bind up when it's running down the roads. And then you're going to get our super tanker, 200 psi system. It's got you just use 2 bolts to mount it. It's going to have a Schrader valve on the bottom and an air pressure switch. The Schrader valve you can use to drain moisture. You can use it to fill the tank if for some reason you lose power. You can also use it to feed and fill a remote. It's going to come pre-wired. You're just going to route the wiring up. You could plug it right into the bike battery tender, or it's going to come with a pigtail that you can hook to your battery and plug it in. It's also going to come with the new controller. This is our new controller that operates the center stand with the pull pin, and then your normal operation up and down, front and rear with the controller. We have a bracket currently that mounts it to the left side firewall plate. We're going to have different brackets soon to allow it to mount in different locations. If you get front air ride, which you do not have to do the center stand, you can just do rear only, not a problem. This is for 14 and up. Stock bike, you're going to get 2 air caps, 2 air pistons, and 2 spring sets for the 17 and newer. It's going to come with airline kits, front and rear, tank setup, and then our new center stand is also air operated, controlled by our new controller. You're going to pull this pin up all the way, the bike lifts a little, the legs deploy, you push it half indent down, the bike sits down on the feet. Then when you're ready to ride, you push the pin down and then use the buttons to raise the bike like normal. Don't have to worry about the center stand legs anymore. They're just going to come up automatically. They're spring loaded. The air pushes the legs down, then the air goes away when you lift the bike up, so nothing's holding the feet down. It's a real simple installation. It will work with crossover, stock OEM crossover pipes, and we have fitment for 09 to currently working on the older bikes. Basically, you just have to remove these 3 bolts. You're going to put some Loctite on it. This plate system, it just sandwiches, it goes right into the frame, clicks into place, and then you just fasten the 3 bolts to this plate and it's installed. Plug the air line into the control unit. There's no wiring, no separate switches. It's all conveniently done through our controller. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this on a base bike, just a base road glide here, but any touring model work. It can have a rake front end or not, base bike. So for a drastic ride improvement for the shocks and the air system, plus the cool factor of the center stand, I'm going to show you how to install that on a base bike. What we're going to do to prep it is we're going to remove the bags each side. We're going to remove the seat. We're going to do the front, so we're going to remove the gas tank so you can route the airline underneath. It's pretty easy. There's some bolts right here. There's a couple of bolts in the front, and then there's a quick disconnect for the fuel, and then the tank will just lift off and get out of the way. This road glide I'm just going to do by taking this cover off. For the trees, I'm not going to take the wheels and everything out of the bike, the forks out of the bike. It is easier kind of to do it that way, but if you're not doing anything but adding front air to your existing bike, then you can do it this way, and I'll go over it. But you can get to the caps, you can remove the caps, you can use a siphon to get some of the oil out of the forks because it needs less oil. Then you can just drop in the components, put the air caps on it, and put air to it, and that'll get the front done. So I'm going to go over that too. But it's basically, we're going to show you how to convert stock front and rear on a stock bike. And, it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. Anybody with any kind of basic mechanical skills should be able to do it. And then you're going to have a whole upgraded adjustable ride system. You're going to have a cool center stand to drop the bike down to park if you want. Or you can always just leave it up and ride with the normal kickstand. You don't have to remove the kickstand. So, all right, I'll be back shortly. Thanks. Okay, hey guys, back here. Okay, so I've got the bike prepped up to the next stage. So I've got the bags off in the back. Then I've got the bike on a jack, and then we're gonna just equalize it. So get most of the weight off the rear. Then you're gonna pull and reuse the 4 bolts off the shock. You're gonna eliminate this washer, but you're gonna reuse the bolt. And then the tanker is gonna mount right here. You're gonna remove these 2 bolts. Sometimes it's easier to loosen this bag rail bolt, and just so it can, this bracket has to line up with this, so sometimes it's hard to get the bolts back through there, but if you do that, it allows some play, so you can get that through. So that'll mount the tanker. You're going to route the wire up here into the seat area. Then to run the front line, you're going to have to cut some of this tape that's got a couple zip ties, but you want to run the air line in this plastic wire channel here. I usually come out this side over here, run it up between the tree, and then up here, up the front, and then put your T there, but I'll show that later. And you're also going to have to drop your handlebars. I've marked mine so I know where they line back up. So I'm going to just pull the top riser cap and lay the bars back so I can get to the fork caps and do the front install. I've also pulled the main fuse from the bike. So there's a main fuse goes right here, big red fuse. Just pull that out. That way you can't ever, mess up anything. But so that's the next stage. All right, and I'll be back. All right, we're back. Just a quick point on the rear to make it a little easier. I mean, you can use the bolts that are in here to reattach this controller, but I like to get a hex head bolt. We don't include them, but you can get them at a hardware store. So this is what's in it. It's just really hard to get to turn it fast and tighten it up quickly. I usually get a 2.5 inch. It's 3/8 16 by 2.5 inches with the lock washer and a washer on it, and then and some Loctite, and then I use that to install it. But for the super tanker, just makes it easier. You don't have to do it, but it makes it easier. I have taken the springs out, stock springs, and the washer, and then I've dropped the bike. I don't know if you are going to be able to see in there or not, but the oil's about 1.5 inches down. I removed 5 ounces from each fork tube, and you want the oil to be below the spring when it's compressed. So I've got the bike dropped down, fork compressed, and the oil level is about 1 inch, 1.5 inches below the spring height. So you don't want the piston touching the oil. Got the pistons greased up on the side. I'm going to install them with the big threaded hole facing out. Then I'm going to put the cap on it, and then we'll be able to plumb it up. So once you install these, you want to push them past the threaded area in the fork tube right here. You want to be really careful getting them past this threaded area so you don't tear that seal. But once they're past it, the piston should just kind of move with your finger pressure. It should move down in there. It may catch some air and want to bounce back up, but it should freely move. If it doesn't seem like it wants to move, then you might want to redo it. Or you can get this is a 3/4 16 thread, and the top of this is used for removal. But if you have a bolt or a piece of all thread, you could turn it in no more than 2 turns, and then you can use it as a tool to remove it or to adjust it. So I'll be back. All right, so we're back. We've got the shocks mounted. See, there's no washer. They move on the spherical bearings, so they can't bind up. I've routed the airline, looped it. You want the fittings to face to the back of the bike. You zip tied it. I've routed it up under here, and under this plate, I put the 2 lines from the left and the right. I get them to come out right here. You can lift this up, take your 2 bolts out, and this little plastic thing lifts up, and then you can put the T down in there, and then you can route the line to the controller. And I have labeled them so I don't mess them up. So I've got the shock and the tank so far poking out here. I've mounted the bracket for the controller. These 2 bolts. There's 2 bolts. One here, on this on your fuse panel and your controller here. So you remove these 2 bolts, then this will be loose, and then you can access the two nuts down in there to attach this bracket. And then the bracket has the 2 holes. You can then attach the control unit. I'll show that later, but you can use a long extension and just screw in from the other side. We've got the tanker mounted over here and the other shock. We've routed the line like this. We've kind of looped it. We've routed the power wire. I like pulling it through, coming out this side. Zip tie, kind of tie them together. And then you can route the power wire, pull this up again, can tuck it back here. And then while this part's loose, you can pull the power wire through. And then it'll plug into the bike. It'll plug into the battery tender here. And then if you need to plug your battery, charge it, you just unplug the air tank. So that's it so far. So I've got the handlebars down. I've got the caps off. And now I'm going to pull the springs out. I'm going to pull some oil out. I'm going to use this to pull the oil out. I got a container to put the oil in. And then I'm going to install the springs and pistons. Then I'll be back. With the next step. All right, we're back. We've got the bars back on. We've got the air ride, air caps on, air lines in. I have routed a line. You can see here for the front, it goes up, and I've got a T up in here, and it goes left and right, and then comes through the trees into here. So I had you have to cut this tape. You have to cut a couple of zip ties, put new zip ties back on. Line comes out here, and then comes out. Now I've got my front, my tank, my rear, and then I've routed my center stand line. You route it down through this opening right here, and then it's going to pop out under the tank, or under the bike here. Then you're going to plug it in. Stand, you're going to remove the 3 bolts, and then this plate. See, the plate is kind of disconnected now, and it's going to slide. It's going to slide up into this cavity and kind of click into place. And then you put the 3 screws. We have other videos showing that install also. So I'll check back here in a minute. All right, we're back. I got the controller mocked up, got the lines plugged in, and then I've got the center stand. This has got a OEM crossover pipe. You can see it clears that, no problem. The center stand's all mounted up, and then we're going to pull this pin out, and then you can see the legs deploy. And then we push it halfway down, and it lets the air out. The bike will drop, but the feet will come up, but it's up in the air. And then when you ride it, you push this pin all the way down. But I'm going to secure it. I'm going to go over that on an operational video here shortly. But install is done. And now I just need to secure the MCU in place with the 2 bolts, and I can get it with a long ratchet from the back. It'll just secure just like this. All right. Hey guys, we're back. I've got the MCU unit installed to the bracket there's 2 Allen screws. I'm going to show you how to activate the legs by pulling the pin all the way up. We're gonna raise the bike a little bit, and then the feet will automatically deploy. So these are the feet here on the legs on the center stand, and then we're going to show you how the feet activate. So I'm going to pull the pin. I'm going to pull this pin up all the way, and we're going to see the feet deploy automatically. seat go down, the bike lifts up a little bit, and now we're ready to drop the bike down. I'm going to push the pin partially in, the bike's going to drop down, it's going to sit on the seat. So now the rear is all the way down, and the bike is sitting on the feet. Now, if you have front air ride, you're going to also have to do the front buttons here. I'm going to press the dump, and you're going to see the front also go down. So you'll see the front go down. Now the bike is all the way down. You can get off the bike. It's parked, it's ready to go. You can leave the bike. It's also got an automatic feature where it's open from the tank. It can't lift by itself, and the bike can't follow. So now the big key feature with our center stand is we're gonna go, now we're back to the bike, we're gonna go ride the bike. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this pen all the way down, and then we're gonna use the buttons to go up, just like you would on normal air ride. But you don't have to do anything with the center stand feet, they're gonna automatically come up. So I'm gonna raise the back right now, and you'll see the feet automatically come up. Now I'm going to raise the front.